Erased Destiny 2, The Knower. Chapter 7, One Too Many. After waiting for half an hour, an impatient Etien followed Uzumaat, leaving the team in Tolpe's care. Under the cover of the shade, she sneaked near the clearing where the vampire was talking to the person following them. In response to the arrow that flew just over Etienne's shoulder, the girl with the death control shoved her adversary into the bushes.
Not too many vampires for this part of the forest, is it? Did we wander into Velinard's domain?
Sorry, I was just trying to explain.
Keep your hands off my man.
Give me a break. I have never been attracted to Uzumaat, and nothing has changed in that regard. I guarantee we won't be having sex in the bushes, so go back to the palace before I send you to a place you won't come back from so quickly. As if one hyperactive vampire wasn't enough.
The sight of the armed and battle-ready female vampire did not surprise Etien at all. She had expected to confront the leader of the Seekers, but in Tyrdam, she had hoped that Zuzu, who knew Sonja's personality and weaknesses, would find the female vampire many absorbing and time-consuming activities that, without insight into her partner's thoughts and the ability to teleport, Sonja would not find them so quickly. The memory of the massacre the couple committed in the castle of Queen Ictia had long kept Etien awake at night. This duo was impossible to control. Sonja, who couldn't control her desires, Uzumaat, who was easily led, and a handful of defenseless mortals. Etien knew that nothing good could come of such a combination.
Who are you? Are you the one who messed things up during Jared's arrest?
Another freak? I feel like pulling my hair out.
Etien teleported to the road Jargon was traveling on. Patch immediately reared up, threw its rider, and would have galloped off into the forest if Etien hadn't tied it with poisonous ivy.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Did you kidnap my father?
Kidnap? Did you hit your head? Do I look like someone who could kidnap an adult man?
Laughing, Etien collapsed on the grass. She had another child to look after, the most spoiled and useless of all. She couldn't stop her laughter for a long time. Finally, Jargon, worried about her, splashed a huge wave over the girl.
Mother said that a black-haired warrior broke into the house, terrorized her and the servants, and then kidnapped Dad and they left the manor.
On his own horse, with the luggage? Without any signs of violence? Without anyone even being beaten? Use your head, at least once in a while. Is your mother the most trustworthy woman in Sintra's region? First, she accused me of casting some nasty spells on you. Now I am to be sentenced for kidnapping your father. I think I should put an end to it. Definite end. My friend offered your father a good deal, so we all set off together. If you don't believe me, talk to him yourself.
Jargon did not admit that. Although he believed Marigold, he preferred to make sure. He calmed down the startled Patch and silently followed the girl to the camp. As soon as she saw Cyril roasting sausages, Etien called out,
Please explain to him that no one has kidnapped you and send the kid home before I use my authority to imprison all of you. Kidnapped? Did you tell Jargon that making false accusations is a crime? I still have to finish the vampire topic.
I'm sure I'll be useful. You're not going to tell me that you've found a better archer?
Etien had not noticed Sonja at first. The vampire hid behind the tree and talked to Etien from there. Uzumaat, clearly dissatisfied with the appearance of his partner, remained silent.
I don't think an archer is needed for the diplomatic mission, but I don't deny that I thought about taking you with us. Your sense of smell can be really useful, as long as you stay at the same site as me. How far is the palace from here?
About 12 days on horseback. Why do you ask?
Jargon ran up to his father and began a quick inspection. Reassured by his good condition, He sat down by the fire with the others, ignoring the order to return home. Deep down, he knew that Cyril had not been harmed. He used the excuse to escape from home, to see a part of the world without Joanna restricting his freedom.
12 days? And neither you nor Aylin found me? Or maybe you weren't even looking for me? Maybe some people were happy that I was gone?
But we were looking for you. We weren't lucky, but
Shall I check the missions log? I am sure that I won't find there anything Etien related. After Jared's case, you knew where to find me. Why didn't anyone appear in Sintra? I will tell you why. Because you didn't want me to return. I am like a thorn for most of you. For those who left me alone, for those who abandoned me in the Empire, for those who fear my power and knowledge.
Jargon moved closer to his father. He took advantage of the confusion with Sonja to explain the situation in a whisper. Only Uzumaat glanced at the boy, so Cyril did not take his eyes off the vampire. If the exchange of views became heated, he intended to run as fast as he could, to save Jargon at least.
What are you doing here, Dad?
That black-haired gentleman paid me a lot of money to show him around Tyrdam. And I agreed. Go home.
I don't feel like staying at home either. I want to experience something for once. You never took me to Tyrdam.
Jargon's loud reproaches momentarily overshadowed the discussion between Etien and Sonja. Everyone began to follow the dialogue between father and son with interest. Uzumaat was most pleased with the change of the subject, expecting Sonja to be sent back to the underworld.
I know how to cast spells. I know a few languages. I will pay for my own room and board. I don't want anything from you except your company.
But no one is kicking you out. However, you must be prepared for some inconveniences.
The vampire was referring to the necessity of acting in secret, making it difficult to walk through the sun-drenched streets. Cyril interpreted the statement as a warning against being bitten. He took Jargon aside to try to convince him in private to abandon the risky idea. For example, by paying for a luxurious stay at a different time. However, Jargon did not intend to change his plans. Above all, he was interested in Marigold's new job. Despite his best efforts, he could not get his old friend out of his mind. And since he could not forget about her, he decided to find out more about her new life, full of adventure and danger. So that when the day came, the climax of the show, his passionate assurance would be followed by action. Deprived of other options, Cyril appealed to his fatherly authority. He ordered Jargon to leave the camp at dawn and head straight home. He could spend one night keeping his only son safe. He had no intention of doing so again. Jargon said nothing. Silently, he sat down by the fire. To clear the tense atmosphere, Etien decided to tease Cyril. At the same time, she hoped that the spell would convince Jargon to obey his father's order and leave the team.
You once accused me of hypnotizing Jargon, so let me demonstrate what it looks like. Hypnosis.
Before Cyril could protest, Etien had turned Jargon into an unresponsive puppet. She pointed to his empty, glassy eyes, stiff shoulders, and unnatural way of moving. She then ordered Jargon to climb a tree, which he did without hesitation. Etien could control his every move, but she could also give him a command that he had to follow. At her request, Jargon summoned the ice sword and pointed it at his father. Instead of attacking him, he stuck a sausage on it and put it over the fire.
Could you free him? I see my mistake clearly now. Thank you for the show.
2 extra people were enough to make Etien lose her desire to think about conquering Tyrdam. The girl glanced from one to the other, from Jargon, who was clearly offended by the spell, to Sonja, who was now all over Uzumaat. Her behavior bothered Yume, who not only didn't know where to look, but was also blushing more than an autumn fruit. Uzumaat himself seemed to share Umi's opinion, and was not at all happy with the company of his partner, who was intrusively showing him her interest. Cyril and Topaz laid down on their bedding, and Etien wanted to do the same, but anxiety about the success of the mission prevented her from quieting her thoughts. As if leading a bunch of inexperienced people who were completely unfit for combat was not enough, Etien had to keep an eye on Sonja and Uzumaat, whose excitement for battle often led to him disappearing into the shadows. After giving it some thought, the girl realized that it was Uzumaat's transformations that she feared the most. As Etien, she was able to bring him back, to force him to return to human form with the magic of the undead. What could she do as Marigold? Had the man learned to control himself over the past 15 years? Etien strongly doubted it.
How about a little sparring?
With pleasure. Should I take it easy or go for it?
Don't joke around. Unless you have Naomi under your shirt, control your urges.
I've almost forgotten what it feels like to be pinned to a rock by the blade of your scythe. But I understand. I'll be careful.
Sonja, clearly displeased, escaped in the form of smoke. Etien woke Ume, who was dozing with her back to the fire.
You don't want to miss this, believe me.
She unfastened the Empress's sword from her saddle, summoned the Black Blade of Doom, and stood barefoot before Uzumaat. Although she did not cast a masking spell, her skin was covered with a thin layer of smoke. More and more silvery flecks appeared in her dark eyes. Only the tattoos that once covered the sovereign's forearms were missing. Her ancestral heritage, a testimony to her kinship with the imperial line of Hurlstar.
I don't feel right. I know you're you, but without magic, you shouldn't face me.
What do I need magic for? Without moving from this spot, I can send you to the underworld. Imagine all my power, my knowledge, my control over energy, focused on one element.
Without waiting for her words to sink in, Etien quickened her movements. She jumped up, added speed with poison ivy, and charged Uzumaat from above. His body countered unconsciously. Perfect control against instinct, the ability to slow down the passage of time against immateriality. Umi watched the duel with her mouth wide open. Only now did she see the real Etien, the one she once was. Jargon looked away. The fight filled his mind with images he didn't want to see. Etien's current fighting style, adapted to the limitations of her body, reminded Nathan of the competition in the City of Ghosts. Uzumaat enjoyed the competition so much that he paid the entry fees out of his own pocket. He persuaded Etien, Nathan, and Fidelis to take part in this strange endeavor. Etien nailed Uzumaat to a tree with the Black Blade of Doom and listened to the swishing of the undead skin in contact with the disintegrating weapon. She leaned on the other sword as if the duel had tired her very much.
It reminds me of something. Some duel with Saskiel. Did I nail him with a sword once?
Not you. Fidelis. Nice. For a girl, of course.
Pretending to be outraged by her friend's statement, Etien took aim to cut off his head. She followed the black soot particles he had turned into with her gaze.
I've got you.
With one movement of her hand, she conjured up a box of the magical substance. With a second, she used the death control to put the vampire inside, and with a third, she closed the lid.
Time to go to sleep. Sonja is keeping watch. Topaz is watching the fire. I would like to slay a dragon. Shall we organize at least one pleasant event during the trip?
The explosion threw Marigold into the air and covered the entire clearing with black dust. In place of the transparent cage stood a barely visible shadow, with its hands reaching the ground, a long, oblong head and claws instead of swords. Slowly sinking to the grass, Etien pondered how to tame the most dangerous beast of the Crystal Palace. Etien glanced at Umi's raised arm. The girl had already drawn the required symbol on it. A nostalgic smile lit up Etienne's face for a moment. In the past, hardly anyone had ever tried to help her of their own accord, except for Saskiel. But he was gone. In the past, her symbol was a circle, the least frightening of shapes. Strangely enough, it was chosen by the people of the desert as a sign of beings ending the lives of others. Did she still have the right to wear it? She wanted to believe she did. And Uzumaat. He was just a dragon. She blocked his first attack with sand. She fenced herself off from him with a wall of poisonous ivy. A blackbird appeared in her hands, covered with magical inscriptions. Black wings surrounded her body, as they had done in the past, when, as the Lady of the Crystal Palace, she flew to meet dragons, enemy armies, or a magical blizzard. Her whitening eyes tried to catch sight of the vampire, transformed and leaping between the leaves.
You will fall into the void.
He covered his mouth. Why did he say something like that? Etien tilted her head to look at him over her shoulder.
I live in the void. Instead of yelling, you could have frozen him in an ice block. Don't be afraid. It's me who Uzumaat is attacking, not you.
She parried the intangible attack with her scythe, but before the grains of sand surrounded Uzumaat, he changed position. Too fast to catch him with any spell, too valuable to send away with just any ritual.
Is there anything we can do to help her?
I don't think so. Etien used to be able to tame him, but now, she doesn't have that power anymore. Neither does Naomi, for that matter. A stalemate.
Jargon watched Marigold's balanced, well-thought-out, almost geometrically designed attacks. Attacks that would send any other opponent to the graveyard. And Uzumaat chased around the clearing as he had been doing before. Ume, worried and excited, did not spare her praise and admiration for her idol, as if she did not notice the fatigue on Etienne's face, as if it was all just harmless fun, a directed performance.
Sonja, there is some moon dust in my bag. Give it to me, please.
Sonja unceremoniously snatched a leather pouch from the bag and threw it at Etien. The leather pouch hit Etien with full force, scattering particles all over the clearing, together with the shadow darting over it. Out of all plans she created, the simplest one was chosen. The one that Nathan used once in similar situation. He saw it coming. He wanted to shout, wanted Etien to curse him and use as a Uzumaat's target, but he was paralyzed by Jargon's fear. He couldn't move one muscle. He couldn't say a word. He could only watch his beloved die. Etien, immobilized by the energy release, became an easy target for the shadowy adversary. Although she first surrounded herself with a water pillar, all it took for Uzumaat was a small opening, a crack between the feathers of the wings or the ivy coiling around Etien. He could push his blade, unlimited in shape and size, through the smallest hole. When Uzumaat hit her, Etien released the energy. Multiple disintegrations mirrored by moon dust blinded all people watching the clash. Weakened, teetering on the edge of consciousness, the ninth nailed the shadowy curtain to the ground with a scythe. The shadow was not the sight Sonja had expected to see. The vampire let out a muffled gasp. Uzumaat, gone. The devastated woman was unable to move. She stared at the sadly dangling specter with wide eyes. Etien held on to the scythe to avoid falling on the soaked grass and forest mud.
Umi, help me please. Come to me. I need your power to restore his body. You will feel sleepy, but nothing more. I am so tired.
She rubbed her eyes shut to stay conscious for a few more minutes. Feeling the energy of her younger friend filling her, Etien recited the words Naomi had once taught her.
Dust thou art, dust thou wast, dust thou shalt be. From dust came thy body, to dust shall it return.
The scythe disappeared and the shadow fell into the mud with a splash that the immaterial entities do not create. Sonja immediately appeared at her beloved's side. She tried to water him with her own blood, transfer energy to him, wipe his dirty, wet face.
Next time I'll send you away. You and your damn transformations.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Etien, you saved me again. And they say I'm paid to protect you. Sonja will go to the palace for regenerating potions.
They won't help. Does anyone here know priestly magic? It would be useful. Or maybe a royal restoration of strength. No? Whatever.
Etien looked into her bag. First, she drank a potion of power restoration. Then she used her healing wand. Something hard and glassy felt into her hands. She looked at a slice of crystal that she had used to determine people's magical potential. But she was tired, so tired that she fell asleep on her bag.